basketball is like jazz. There's a jazz musician, a guy. God, what's his name? If you know basketball, you know who I mean. Kenny G. God, glad I remembered that. People know who he is.
Hello and welcome to Kenny's G League. You already know, this is the only podcast all about the Rip City remix. In today's episode, we've got a lot of things to talk about, actually. We are going to chat with friend of the program, Gareth Kwok. You may know Gareth as one of two of the duos leading the broadcast for the remix on television. He co-hosts the broadcast with his broadcasting partner, Devon Pouncey. They do a great job doing commentary on every single home game that the remix play. We're going to have a great little chat with Gareth today. We're also going to talk about a new player that the Trailblazers acquired on a two-way contract, and a little bit of stats and some talk about one of the most exciting games the Remix have played in their short tenure in the G League that happened just a couple weeks ago with a incredibly exciting finish to the game. But first, the numbers.
The numbers were scary.
The Remix right now are 7-9 in the regular season, which puts them at 11th place in the West. But that's only 2 games back of 6th place, which is the last playoff spot. Let's check out some stats that they're putting up in February and compare that to what they've been doing overall through the entire year. Points per game. In February, they put up 116 points per game, which is 12th in the league. Overall, throughout the entire season, they've been putting up 115.2 points per game, which is good for 5th in the league. So, interestingly, February has been a higher scoring month in general in the league. The Remix are putting up a higher points per game number, but they're further down in the league in points per game. 3-point percentage, I think this is a really interesting one. For the entire year as a whole, entire season as a whole, they've been shooting 33.6% from 3, which is good for 24th in the league. The team has a couple very sharp shooters, but other than that, they've got some limited shooting on the team. But in February, they shot 38.5% from 3, which is good for 8th in the league. So that is a pretty marked improvement there. Now, opponent points, I think this is also a telling one. Overall, they're allowing 120.1 points per game, which is worst in the league. In February, they were allowing 121.6 points per game, which would put them at 29th in the league out of 31 teams, of course. So opponent points they allow, that is where they're kind of struggling right now. Now, with those stats in mind, I was curious myself about something, so I went to do a little bit of math. The G League likes to do these 2-game series. Sometimes people call them baseball series, where you play the same team twice in a row, usually with a day in between. You see it occasionally in the NBA these days. They say it's to cut down on travel a little bit, which totally makes sense. I was curious how the Remix were doing in these series, so I just did a little bit of counting, and by my count, the Remix have gotten swept in those series 4 times. They've won both the games of a series only once, and they split the series 6 times. And then other games, of course, they've had just one-off games. People always say it's really hard to beat a team 2 times in a row, and it looks like they're correct, unless you're the team playing the Remix, and then maybe it's a little easier to beat the other team 2 times in a row. I kind of find myself wondering if this is part of why at the end of the G League season, sometimes we see a large number of teams really close in the standings. We saw this last year with the Remix when they were in a multi-team tie for the last playoff spot, and it was going into the last game or 2 games to decide who would get that spot. I think that's kind of the give and take with the 2-game series. You know, it's great to cut down on travel, especially with like the minor league teams, but at the same time, it just straight up is hard to beat a team twice in a row. So you get, a lot of the series being split, and then teams end up with very similar standings. I don't really know what you do about that, but I at least thought it was interesting to kind of take a look at real quick. Let's also check out what was probably one of the most exciting games in the Remix's short history. It happened earlier this month on February 2nd versus the Windy City Bulls. The Trailblazers assigned Dwap Reith, Jabari Walker, and Ryan Rupert to the Remix for this game. They all played big minutes, and they had some pretty big moments that we'll talk about. Many Blazers players were also in attendance, including Jeremy Grant, Matisse Thybulle, who's been at a handful of games, actually. Matisse has been at a number of games. Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clingan, Tumani Kamara, Scoot Henderson, plus a variety of coaches and front office staff. Despite fielding 3 Trailblazers on regular NBA contracts and two-way player Bryce McGowens, who's leading the league in points per game, the Bulls played an excellent game. They outshot the Remix on the night, 51% from the field for the Bulls and about 49% from 3. It felt like they couldn't miss in that game. It was a close game throughout the fourth, but the Remix fell down by 7 points with 52 seconds remaining via a jumper from EJ Liddell of the Bulls. It was looking like that might be the dagger for the Remix, but then they rattled off 6 straight points from the Trailblazers assignees, Reith, Walker, and Rupert, and cut it to 1 with 6 seconds remaining. The Remix intentionally fouled the Bulls, who went 1 of 2 from the line, making it a 2-point lead for the Bulls. The Remix went to Bryce McGowens on the following possession looking to tie or take the lead, and he got fouled on a mid-range jumper attempt and sank both free throws, tying the game with 1.6 seconds left. EJ Liddell of the Bulls inbounded the ball underneath the Remix basket and threw the ball away, straight out of bounds, giving the Remix the ball back. I was sitting just on the, second row, right behind the courtside seats there. I'm kind of, from my perspective, looking essentially parallel to the Remix basket, right, when this happens. So Jabari Walker is inbounding the ball on a play that I think was originally intended for Bryce McGowens, just kind of looking at the video again. But Dwap Reith curls around behind Bryce McGowens, has 1 foot on the three-point line. Jabari Walker inbounds to Dwap. Dwap sinks the shot for the win. All the players go and surround Dwap. They go dogpile him. Even the basically every single player that was there went and congratulated Dwap in the dog pile. It was really cool. I got a video of that from my perspective that I put up on Instagram. You can go check that out on Instagram. It's a fun little memory for me. Really exciting game, and I feel like that fully cements Dwap as the Remix GOAT. Really fun game. The only other bit of news we're going to talk about here before we get into our conversation was that the Trailblazers added wing Sidy Cissoko to a 2-way contract. Cissoko has a number of Blazers connections, including playing with Scoot Henderson with the G League Ignite. He's played with Ryan Rupert in France. He worked out with Portland prior to the 2023 draft. Cissoko was selected with the 44th pick in the 2023 draft by the San Antonio Spurs. He was then traded just a couple of weeks ago to the Sacramento Kings as part of the De'Aaron Fox-Zach LaVine trade. He was then traded again 2 days later to the Washington Wizards, who would go on to waive Sidy Cissoko. I have to think that once he was waived, this is where having those connections to the Trailblazers comes in handy. I'm sure a 20-year-old prospect that hasn't really come close to realizing his potential had some interest across the league, but he ultimately landed in Portland on a 2-way, probably in part because the Trailblazers had already built a bit of a framework out in the organization that was familiar with him and his game, whether that's, like I said, the players that he's played with prior, or some coaches that have G League connections, things like that. And Mike Schmitz, who has talked about him at length. You can kind of find some stuff he's written about him in the past. I'll link to a article from the Rose Garden Report from Sean Highkin, who wrote about that. He kind of put these connections together a little bit. Now, of course, that means that the remix, or Trailblazers rather, had to cut Tajay Moore, unfortunately. That's a bummer. He was definitely a bit of a fan favorite, a high-flying player that was a part of the remix for a little while now. He played, about half of the previous season and was here from the beginning of this one. Really exciting player. I'll be on the lookout to see where he lands next because, like I said, I think he's kind of a fan favorite and an exciting player to watch. So it'll be interesting to see what he gets up to next. With that all out of the way, let's get into our chat with Gareth Kwok. Gareth, thanks for joining us. You're our first recurring guest on Kenny's G League. If you don't know, listeners, we're talking to Gareth Kwok today. He is the host, I suppose you could say, of the Remix television broadcast, along with his broadcasting partner. And he's going to talk with us today, all things Remix, just kind of get a feeling for what the season's been like this year. Thanks for joining us, Gareth. How's it going today?
I'm doing well. Thanks again for having me, and fan of the show, fan of the coverage, and always enjoy talking Remix.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, let's see. We're kind of like, what are we, like 2/3 of the way through the season, maybe even more at this point. And it's been, I guess, what is like pretty normal for the G League. There's, it's like a pretty new team, and there's a few returning guys, but a lot of, different players and stuff, different coaches, obviously. What's it kind of been like this year, jumping into your second season with the team, but kind of a lot of new stuff along with that?
Yeah, I mean, year two it's been a lot of fun so far. The team itself, it's been, I think, inconsistent, but there's been a lot of fun wins. There's been some disappointing losses along the way, but you remember at the same time, the G League's all about trying new things, experimenting with new things, and especially with the Remix, a team that loves to shoot 3-pointers, loves to play at a very frenetic pace at times, but also sometimes at a controlled, chaotic pace, if you will. But also just great seeing development of some of the two-ways and guys like Bryce McGowan, who's going to be a Rising Stars selection in San Francisco pretty soon, and guys like Henry Drell, who's trying to work his way back up to the NBA, Alex Reese, who was at one point a member of the OKC Thunder and still continuing to do his part, be a fan favorite. And then more recently, guys like Sidy Cissoko, who was just brought in on the two-way. So, you enjoy seeing the wins, but also at the same time, it's all about the development of the players. And it's been just fun to really see how those guys have grown and matured since day one, when we were just getting this new crop of guys. Yeah,
and like you said, it has been like from the beginning of the season, there's obviously a lot of changes and stuff. But like you said, even just like in the last couple of weeks, there's been several moves and stuff on the team, like Sidy Cissoko. I wasn't able to see his first game with the team. I think I caught maybe the last quarter or something on TV. What was that game like? I wasn't able to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't recall a more impressive debut for a remixer than what he showcased on Monday. And, for him to come in, after a hectic trade deadline, the guy who had gotten traded twice and then, waived and is hoping to get back on his feet, look for his next spot, joins the Blazers organization, and then just a seamless fit on that Monday. Almost, it looked too good to be true, but he was shooting it really well with confidence. And, he's listed at like 6'6", 200 pounds. He looked stronger than 200 in my opinion. Just in my opinion, he looked really smooth the way he was being integrated into the offense. Super athletic. Devon talked about it in our broadcast, but I mean, his athleticism really stood out in terms of his dunking and his ability to contest shots. And I mean, if he can get that three ball going, he was 5 for 5 from downtown.
Oh, dang!
So he was on a heater to start the game. What was it, like 6 for 6 and 5 for 5? Within his first like 16, 17 minutes of the game. So he was really shooting it well with confidence. Can't guarantee that for maybe the rest of the year, but it was really a good omen and quite the way to start your remixer career.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see him the rest of the season. I'm kind of bummed that Tajay, they had to cut Tajay to make room for him on that two-way spot, who personally I'm bummed for just because he's an exciting player. But at the same time, I can understand that move, I guess, because Sidy is like 20 years old or something like that. He's very young, and he's got like the connections to Scoot and to I didn't know Ryan Rupert. Apparently he's played with him in France. I didn't know that. So it seems like one of those players that's like the ideal candidate for like a two-way, a young guy with lots of upside, and like you said, like in game one you can see the dream of what a guy like that could be in the NBA. So that's pretty cool. Now I know that you're obviously with the remix broadcasting, and in the spring and summer you do baseball, right?
That's correct.
Cool. Yeah. How was this past season for you as the remix were off?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was a hectic weekend, I remember, because I think we had just wrapped up fan appreciation weekend. It was our final homestand against Santa Cruz, and then my first day with the minor league team. It was I'm with the Bowie Bay Sox. They're now called the Chesapeake Bay Sox, the AA affiliate of Orioles out in Maryland. And so my first day was like that Monday after our last homestand. So I called that final game on the Saturday, took a red eye out to DC, and had Sunday, like half of a Sunday, to kind of catch up on some sleep and see my grandparents, see my family, and then Monday, boom, we were ready to go. Like,
oh wow,
that was our first week of games. Like, we'd be having games that Friday. So
wow,
it was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of games. It's a 138 game schedule, and
it's 138 games.
Yeah, it's 138 games. You're not the first person who's had that reaction when I tell them about it. Yeah, 6 days a week, and I travel with the team. The team. But it's fun. It's just like any, like an NBA or a G League season. Like each game is just kind of a chapter in the season. In this case, with the minor leagues, there's 138 chapters in the season. So just to get to see the young guys perform and how they initially start out, maybe struggling at first, but then eventually you see them turn a corner and feel like they've overcome those struggles to the point where they've kind of conquered, and then they get a chance to go up to AAA and hopefully beyond is always rewarding as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, man, that's an intense schedule.
It is.
That's really cool though. That's really cool. Yeah. It must be challenging as a broadcaster, let alone even if the team was totally set in stone. It has to be challenging just, preparing game to game, even if there's only like 50 games or 48 in the G League or over 100, in baseball. That has to be such a crazy thing to kind of prepare for, like every single day. I was kind of wondering the other day, there was a player on the remix, I think it was Tyrell Roberts.
Yeah.
Because I went to a game a couple weeks ago, and I, like most days, I go to like the G League transaction page and refresh that. I'm like, all right, who's new? If anyone on the remix pops up there.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen anything that day, and I go to the game and I'm like, oh shoot, who is this guy? Who, I don't even know this dude's name, and he's playing and he doesn't even have a name on the back of his jersey. It's just straight up blank. What is that like through the season to just go like, okay, I'm not only preparing for the away team, I'm also like trying to prepare for the team that you cover. You know what I mean? What is that like just day to day?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, in Tyrell's case, like he came in on a flight like that, of that game, and we needed somebody And
Yeah.
luckily it helps that and Kat, our PR contact, she does an awesome job keeping me and Devon up to date. And
Hmm.
so we'll get an injury report, and that was a time where a lot of guys were banged up, and so we kind
Yeah.
of had a feeling like, okay, we probably are going to sign somebody that just for a game or two, see
Hmm.
what happens after that. And I get that information, and then kind of do a crash course of where they went to school and kind of where they were at before they got signed, and PR will send some stuff along the way too. So it
Yeah.
is really all a hands-on effort to kind of
Hmm.
make sure I'm not going in there blind, because
Totally.
it happens not just in basketball but also baseball. There's guys getting moved up and down, and sometimes at the very last second, and you just gotta be flexible and willing to willing to adjust. But yeah, in that case for Tyrell, he did a great job coming in.
He had a nice game too.
On that afternoon on the flight, like, he had his bag. I said hi, welcome to the remix, and he was clearly like, he was being polite, but I'm sure he was just,
Yeah.
the mind was spinning
Totally.
maybe a little bit, like, I'm all right. I got to play a game in a couple
Yeah.
hours, and he did well in that debut. I remember he did very well off the bench. So
Yeah.
that's a look.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's just the reality of, like, whether you're the broadcaster or the player. You're like, just like you were, you're getting on a flight and you're like, okay, next day, next
Mhm.
thing, we're gonna make it as good as we can and see what happens. But it's just
Yeah.
the craziness of sports in general, really, I suppose, but especially
Yeah.
minor league sports.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to talk about the game a couple weeks ago where Dwapreath was playing, and they also sent who am I forgetting? Jabari was there.
Was there. Yeah.
Roops was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of a crazy game. I wanted to talk about the ending of that game from your perspective. I obviously know very little about, like, the world of sports broadcasting from, like, a professional perspective, but I have to imagine that, like, a game like that where you're down 7, I think, with like 30 seconds left, and then you come back to win it, that has to be like a dream as far as announcing the game goes, because those are like the moments that you hope for throughout the season. I'm
Yeah.
assuming. What was that like to kind of call that game and the game winner?
Yeah, I mean, because that game it was like a remix were down by 7 with like 50 seconds left, and it seemed like anytime they got a bucket, Windy City countered with a bucket of their own, and I think they had like 3 baskets in crunch time. So I'm looking at Devon, and it's like, man, it's just not going to be that type of game. It's not going to be there. It's not going to go their way. But things fell into place, and a couple baskets from Jabari Walker, and a couple turnovers as well from Windy City to give the remix a chance. And once McGowan's made the couple of free throws to tie the game with like 2 seconds left, I'm like, okay, we're getting ready I'm mentally just getting ready to go to overtime.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're getting ready to go overtime. We had a fun overtime game, I think, last year when Terrence Davis, another remix legend, even though it was short lived, but he was able to win it in overtime. So I'm just mentally preparing. Okay, like overtime, we got first team to score 7 points in overtime. But once I see Liddell for Windy City throw the ball away, I'm like, okay, like we might have a chance here. The remix might have a chance, and you just Jabari, trying to inbound it. It's sometimes tough in that corner because I'm sometimes blocked by fans, and the referees are there, and so. But I saw Duop curl off, get the ball, got it clean like him, and I think everybody in the arena, Childs, was like, "Oh, that's going in, right?" And it couldn't have been a better ending with Joe Cronin there, Chauncey Billups there. I mean, all of his teammates, like Scoot, Tamani, Jeremy Grant was there. I know I'm missing some others, but
Oh, there
Donovan
were
Clingan,
so many people there.
everybody. I mean, it was just the best game. It probably was the best game from not only just the game itself, but just the fan experience, getting all the Blazers there, and the ending was just, I mean, storybook to have a guy like Dwop Wraith, who everyone on the team loves, from the remix up to the Blazers. They all love that man. So it was just, I'm glad the call did its justice, is what I can say.
Yeah, it really did too. Like I was at the game, but then I, of course, went and rewatched the clip later when I got home. It was great call. I'll try to insert a clip here in the episode.
Walker to inbound, remix with a chance to win the game. Walker, Wraith for the win.
Yes, indeed! Bang, bang, bang! Take the L out of Lover. This ball game is over. Dwop Wraith seals the deal. How about that, Rip City?
You and Devon played off each other really well in that clip. I thought he had a little I don't know, slogan or whatever that he dropped in there that was hilarious.
Take the L out of Lover. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. That was fantastic. Yeah, just such a great game.
He saves it for the big ones, like
Yeah.
And I like that he does that. He doesn't use it all the time,
Right?
But he'll use it for those big wins, and I mean it's great. It's great when he does it.
Yeah, I like that. He does a really good job. I'd like to have him on at some point as well. I think it was at some point last year or something he mentioned that he liked broadcasters like Mark Jackson and stuff. And I can kind of hear that in there, with like phrases like that, and kind of like being able to be like playful with the broadcast while still like maintaining the the big moments and stuff like that. Really, really fun. Yeah, that was such a fun game. I was glad that it happened for Dwop too, because I feel like it kind of cements him as the greatest of all time remixer.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness! I mean, you score 37 points in the first ever game in remix history, and then your services are never needed again for that year, because that was your one audition, and they said that's enough. And then
totally
he comes back, volume 2, and has been in and out of the rotation, and just proceeds to have proceeds to win the game with that type of shot. I mean,
yeah.
And then he put up another great game the day after,
36 I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was another 30 plus point game. So yeah, his legendary status fully cemented by now. Gotta
be. I hope he gets some run with the Blazers here to kind of close out the season, because I really liked what he was doing for the Blazers last year in the regular season, like a big that can shoot threes. I feel like every team is kind of has that archetype, Well,
yeah, just I mean, we're recording this on Wednesday. Yeah, I think Ayton just went down for a little bit. He's going to have some time, so I mean, yeah, that opens the door up for some big men on the team. So yeah, hopefully we'll get to see him.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it'll be an interesting kind of end of the season here, because it looks like Ayton's going to be out for like at least a month, and I'm not sure what Scoot's prognosis is right now, but hopefully not too bad. But I saw he's going to miss the All-Star game, unfortunately. But we'll see what goes on from there. Yeah, let's see. Something I was curious about, and if you don't want to put this in the episode, we can totally cut it. I was just kind of curious, like if you were to construct, a dream broadcasting gig, what would that look like for you? I kind of assume that like the players, people like you and Devon are like, yeah, this could like be a stepping stone to another part of my career later on, whether that's like a year from now or 10 years from now, or who knows, whatever. That's like the great part of minor league sports, is it can be a stepping stone to whatever the next thing may be. Like if you were to construct a perfect, an ideal broadcasting scenario, what would that look like for you? What sport? What, maybe even if you have a specific team? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, I've always been I've always enjoyed doing a lot of different sports just to see what I like, see what I don't like, and I really enjoy doing basketball. I enjoy doing baseball, enjoy doing football, and the remix has been so much fun getting to call these games, and I've gotten to really fall in love with Portland and just the area, getting to make so many connections and friends, and families gotten to travel up. So
cool.
I mean, with the WNBA coming up, I mean, I wouldn't be I would be remiss if I didn't say I'd be interested in doing that, and still being able to do remix in the fall, and WNBA in the summer. I'll have done 3 years with the remix by then, so definitely would love to be considered if that was at all an opportunity or a possibility.
That'd be amazing.
Just call Portland home. And it's been I've been basically a nomad the last 2-3 years since I graduated college, going from East Coast to West Coast, East Coast to West Coast. But I want to be on the West Coast. Pacific Northwest would be awesome, and calling basketball year round, I think is what I want to do.
Yeah, man, that would be super, super awesome. I mean, that's the dream for me is just watching basketball year round. So that would be really super cool if that opportunity were to come up.
I've heard the summers in Portland are something else. So
it's pretty. I always feel like a little conflicted because I wonder how many players like spend time in Portland in the summer, because I gotta feel like I wish basketball season for the NBA was also in the summer, because I feel like so many players would have such different perspective of what the town is like and everything, like you're here in January, February, and it's like, all right, cool. It's kind of chilly and like, depending on the year, pretty rainy and all that stuff. And then you're in the summer and it's just like the perfect weather in general, unless you get like a forest fire. But other than that, it's like pretty warm and feels totally different than the winter. So I always wonder if players realize how different it can be.
Yeah, that's right. But no, that'd be awesome. Yeah, to just call Portland home at
Absolutely.
some point. But yeah, we'll until we get there. But that'd be I think best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear you calling those games. I think that would be awesome.
Appreciate
that would be. You've been doing an excellent job on the home broadcast on every game that I have watched from home. It's been super great to watch, and feels like the quality is just like way up there, in my opinion. Sometimes I watch some other teams' broadcasts when they're on the road, and I wonder what the heck is going on, and then I see a home one, and it seems like pretty dialed in, and like a lot of thought and effort goes into it.
Yeah, we have the best crew, I think, in the G League. Didn't know what to expect, I suppose, when coming in, because how minor leagues is. Yeah,
totally.
With budget and resources, but I mean, it's as close to I think it's like an NBA level broadcast from at a G League level is what I would say. And from the camera work and what our people in the truck are doing. So. Shout out to everybody out there that's helping us out on the game-to-game basis, because they do amazing work.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I think the remix have 2, if not 3, different camera angles that they cut between on the broadcast, which is more than you can say for a lot of the teams. When I watch an away one, sometimes there's just the one kind of center court camera angle, because different teams have different resources and all of that. But it's really a great broadcast.
Yeah, and the nice part too with the intimate setting and everything is like we have all audio. We have mics everywhere on the court, so you really get to hear what's going on, and the chitter chatter at the free throw line, or sometimes in coaches. So that part too. I mean, from top down, it's the audio to the video. It's definitely top notch.
Yeah, it really is. Well, before we get out of here, since you've kind of been in Portland for a couple years now, totally unrelated to basketball, do you have any favorite food in town?
Ooh, yeah. I'm trying to think of let's see. oh man, this is bad. I'm blanking out on a couple. Well, I love Thai food, and
Oh,
so
nice,
so
yeah.
I've been to a couple of good Thai spots. There was one that Devon had recommended, and I really enjoy it in downtown called Thai Peacock.
Okay.
So that really good, like garlic fried rice.
Nice.
They have some good like curries and noodles. And then I'm trying to think of another. There's another really good Thai place, and I'm forgetting the name already.
Yeah.
But I'm already forgetting the name.
It's understandable. There's a million great restaurants in town. So
Yeah. Another good spot for like sliders that I've gone to, PDX Sliders.
I haven't been there.
Yeah, they've taken good care of Devon and I sometimes after games.
Nice.
So good fried chicken sliders and whatnot. So and we actually and then Screen Door as well, which I know it gets busy in downtown. And I think one of our players went to Screen Door, and because they heard me and Devon talking about on the broadcast, and he went and said, yeah, you got it. That was good.
That's awesome.
Chicken and waffles was good. So
yeah.
so if we don't make it in the broadcast, if our broadcasting doesn't make it to the end, I guess we have maybe a career as like food reviews.
Yeah, there we go.
So
you guys should do a duo partnership as food reviewers. That would be fantastic.
I like it. Yeah, but it's great food all around.
Yeah,
and still exploring more. So if Hand Crew Nation's listening, definitely send some recommendations along my way, because I'm trying to try new spots.
Yeah. There's like so much good food in town, and like I feel like in the last year I haven't made it out to as many new spots as I used to. So there's like several things on my list of new places to try that I haven't made it out to yet. But yeah, there's always so much food in Portland.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping to go to some more in these next couple of trips I have. So yeah. Any recommendations, please send them my way.
Okay, I'll send a couple things your way. Yeah, that'd be good.
I like it.
Cool. Well, we'll get out of here, I guess, today on that. If you have any food recommendations that Gareth should check out in town, he's on Blue Sky. What is your handle on Blue Sky?
Oh, yes. It's like my X or Twitter, but Hey G Kwok. So HEYGKWOK at bsky.social. I'm still learning this platform, but now I know where you guys are. I wondered where everybody was.
So many people left, and you are full credit to you. You're the only person I've seen from the remix on Blue Sky. So huge shout out to Gareth. We got to get the rest of the team on there for sure. But go follow Gareth on Blue Sky.
But now, I'm glad that I found y'all, because I was wondering where is everybody, So
totally,
you guys.
yeah, I was happy to see you jump on there.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining the episode today. Really appreciate it. And hope the rest of the season treats you well. I'm sure I'll see you at the next home game.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Eric.
As always, thank you for listening to Kenny's G League. I'll be looking forward to catching you on the next episode. You can follow me at Kenny's G League on Blue Sky, at Kenny's G League on Instagram, and at Kenny's G League on TikTok. Although I don't post there a ton, you should follow me there anyway while I'm still there. I'll be looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening.